The small-town diner in Savannah, Georgia, smelled of fresh coffee and sizzling bacon every morning. For 17-year-old Amara Johnson, this place wasn't just her workplace. It was where she learned strength, patience, and hope. Her mother, a nurse working double shifts at the local hospital, depended on Amara's tips to help pay rent and cover groceries. Life hadn't been easy since her father passed away 2 years ago, but Amara refused to let hardship dim her smile. She greeted every customer with warmth, even when exhaustion weighed heavily on her shoulders. One rainy afternoon, the bell above the diner door jingled, and the chatter inside suddenly quieted. A group of leather-clad bikers stepped in, their jackets emblazoned with the fiery skull insignia of the Hells Angels. Most people froze or avoided looking at them. The name carried a reputation that made folks uneasy. Amara felt her heartbeat quicken, but she pushed her fear aside. She reminded herself that her job was to serve with kindness, no matter who sat at her table. She approached them with her usual bright smile. "Good afternoon, gentlemen. What can I get started for you today?" she asked politely. The leader, a broad-shouldered man with a graying beard and deep blue eyes, gave her a curious look. His name was Rick, and though his presence was intimidating, his voice was calm. "Coffee, black, and a cheeseburger," he said, handing her the menu without much expression. As Amara scribbled down their orders, the other customers whispered quietly, some even slipping out the door to avoid trouble. But the bikers stayed polite, quiet, and respectful, watching Amara move around the diner with practiced grace. When Rick's meal arrived, she noticed the calluses on his hands and the fatigue in his eyes, the look of a man who'd seen too much of life's rough edges. When it came time to pay, Rick reached into his worn-out wallet. His expression changed when his card was declined. He sighed, embarrassed, muttering something under his breath. Amara noticed immediately. Without hesitation, she gently placed a hand on the counter and said softly, "It's okay, sir. I'll take care of it." Rick looked up, startled. "You don't even know me," he said. Amara smiled. "Doesn't matter. Everyone deserves a warm meal, especially on a rainy day." He didn't argue, but his eyes lingered on her, filled with surprise and something else she couldn't quite read. When he left, he gave a small nod of gratitude before stepping back into the storm. That night, as Amara walked home under her umbrella, she couldn't stop thinking about that man and the sadness behind his eyes. She didn't know who he was or what story he carried, but she knew one thing for sure. Kindness didn't cost her anything, and sometimes it was the only thing she could afford to give. Little did she know that one small act was about to change her life forever. The next morning, the sun broke through the gray clouds that had lingered over Savannah all week. Amara arrived early at the diner, still sleepy but ready for another long day. She tied her apron, tucked a pencil behind her ear, and began wiping down the tables before customers arrived. That's when she noticed it, a plain white envelope sitting neatly on her usual serving table by the window. Her name, Amara, was written in bold, unfamiliar handwriting. At first, she thought it was from her manager, maybe her schedule or a note. But when she opened it, her breath caught in her throat. Inside was a check for $50,000 and a handwritten letter on simple lined paper. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the note. It read, "For the girl with the kindest heart. You reminded me that there's still good in this world. Never stop shining, Rick." Tears welled in Amara's eyes as she stared at the signature. Rick, the Hells Angel she'd helped the day before. For a moment, she was too stunned to move. Her co-worker, Marie, noticed her frozen expression and rushed over. "Amara, honey, what's wrong?" Amara handed her the check and note without saying a word. Marie gasped so loudly that the cook peeked out from the kitchen. "Girl, this is real." "You've got a guardian angel, a Hells Angel to be exact," she said, half laughing through disbelief. Word spread quickly through the small town. Customers came in whispering about the biker's gift and the girl who bought him lunch. But Amara didn't want attention. What touched her most wasn't the money. It was the message behind it. Someone had seen her heart, not just her uniform or her struggles. Later that week, Amara learned more about Rick. A local news station picked up the story, and through their coverage, she discovered that Rick was a retired Marine veteran and a successful auto shop owner who had lost his wife 2 years earlier. After her death, he'd withdrawn from life, riding across the country with his biker club, trying to find peace. That rainy afternoon at the diner had been the first time he'd felt human kindness in months. Amara and her mother decided not to use the entire check for themselves. Instead, they opened a small scholarship fund to help other students in their community, especially those working part-time to support their families. Rick's Ride Scholarship, they called it, in honor of the man whose life had crossed theirs for one extraordinary moment. Months later, a large group of bikers rolled up to the diner again. Rick stepped inside wearing the same jacket but a brighter smile. He hugged Amara like family and said quietly, "You saved me that day more than I'll ever save you."